Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our last event in our inaugural UGS Spotlights on Student Success series. We are very excited for this afternoon's featured speaker, Katrina Young. Katrina is an Olympic 10-meter platform diver who competed in the 2016 Games in Rio. She's training for the 2021 Olympics at Tokyo. Very exciting. Can't wait to cheer her on this summer, especially after today. Aside from her diving career, Katrina holds a passion for music, which she majored in at FSU. So today she's going to be talking to you guys about how to find your passion and everything in between. We're just very glad you're here, Katrina. Welcome.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you guys having me, and I just love FSU. I've cherished my time here, so I'm honored to be a part of this series. As Amy said, I studied music at FSU, and I also dove at FSU, so I have no lack of passions, really. It's always been almost a struggle of having too many passions for me. And so really growing up, I tried so many different things. I tried music, acting, gymnastics, diving, water polo. My parents put my siblings and I in almost every sport you can imagine, just to see what would take. So I was reflecting, thinking about talking to you all about what it means to find your passion and to really know what your passion is. And it struck me that finding your passion is one thing, but holding on to it is a whole nother thing. And so holding on to and living your passion requires a lot of luck. It requires so much bravery. It requires a lot of support from your community, whoever that is, friends, family, and it requires resilience. There are always setbacks along the way, and you just have to be able to stick to your dreams and think about how to adapt within them. So I want to talk to you all about what my experience with that has been. As a young child, like I said, I was given a lot of opportunities. My parents are superheroes, and they took my siblings and I to all sorts of practices and performances and competitions, just nonstop. So in Seattle, we were lucky because there's gymnasiums and pools and great music venues, so we had a lot of opportunities. But gymnastics was my first love. I remember just loving to flip and to jump onto the bars and swing around. And that was my whole world was gymnastics, right up until I saw my older sister dive into the water. And she was so graceful and beautiful and just jumped and propelled into the air and spun and then just entered the water perfectly. And my heart stopped. And I remember thinking, oh, I just want to be like her, just like her. And I think anybody with siblings or an older sibling can probably relate to that. So it was soon after that I was really just doubling up on acrobatics, gymnastics, and diving. And so, you know, flipping has kind of felt like my most natural state, being on my hands and doing handstands and all sorts of things. So athletics does run in my blood. My dad was an Olympic soccer player, my grandmother an Olympic runner, and my mom a Russian kettlebell trainer. So I have a lot of athletics in my family heritage. So the path to the Olympics leading up to 2008 was something I dreamed of. It was something I planned on. And in 2005, I really started to make a splash on the international scene as a junior diver. And I went to the Junior Pan American Games in Fort Lauderdale, which was very exciting because being a Seattleite, I love the tropical climate and was so happy to be in Fort Lauderdale. And it was such a blast, and I won a medal there, won a silver medal there. And so I really, in 2005, was thinking, okay, I can work hard enough and make it onto the 2008 Olympic team. Well, that kind of came to a screeching halt for me in 2007. My right tibia bone broke and cracked my growth plate as well. And so what had happened is I had a stress fracture in my right leg, which was misdiagnosed, and I was told it was growing pains and to work through the pain, and I was okay with that. You know, I grew up in a very disciplined atmosphere of gymnastics and diving, but it did end up breaking from overusing it, and the fracture grew and eventually broke. So this is in 2007, so, you know, it was really reality check for me because 2008 was the Olympic year. So I kind of had to reassess what athletics, what my passion meant, and like where I wanted to go in my life. And so this is when I learned to adapt within my dreams, which I think is a really important part of having passions, having dreams. And people just need to know that sometimes things don't go your way, and you have to decide if it's worth it, if you want to stick in there and be resilient and keep going. So, lucky for me, I have incredible parents and great family and friends, and they really helped me think about what I wanted to do with my future. And I ultimately decided I wanted to keep diving. So, I didn't compete in the Olympics in 2008, but I did come back after my injury to come to FSU as a diver. And that, was a dream in itself for me. So it took about 2 years for my leg to return to its full strength. And it wasn't very easy, I'll admit. I would drive 45 minutes out to the aquatic center with my family, and I would watch my siblings and my friends dive and wish that I could dive alongside them. But then I started visualizing, I started analyzing other people's videos, the best divers in the world. I would watch them and think, what would it be like to dive alongside them, and what would I need to do? So I went through a lot of physical therapy, and eventually got to jumping back off my leg through a lot of icing and a lot of gritted teeth. And my aunt and uncle helped me. They're USA weightlifting coaches and judges, and they helped me regain my strength. So I think it was just kind of a blessing that I had a setback, because I started utilizing other things to become stronger that I may not have otherwise. Really, my point is that your dreams just aren't always handed to you. So, if they were, there wouldn't be the challenge. It really wouldn't be as exciting. You wouldn't get the rush and the feeling of achievement. And the triumph really lies in the unforeseen obstacles and overcoming them. So I think we're all capable of reaching our dreams. It just takes a lot of grit, a lot of heart, and a lot of support from your community. So speaking of community, we're here at FSU, and FSU is my community. It's a huge part of my story. So, joining the diving team, as I said, was a really incredible opportunity. And I just was so excited to come here, that along with the tropical climate, it's different, a little different than Seattle, which is beautiful on its own too, but I was excited for a new adventure. And it's always kind of felt like home to me, really, even through this hard time of COVID we've all gone through. The athletic department has been right there with me. David Coburn, Dr. Casey King, my coach, John Proctor, my husband, Misha Kaufman. And so these are all people from Tallahassee, I met in Tallahassee, and I love FSU and how much they support me. So I really appreciate that. So like I mentioned earlier, I had no lack of passions and wanted to study music when I came to FSU. Now, there was a little setback because I didn't really have the classical training that was required. A lot of the students that came here to study music, went to musical high schools. They went to perform music theater growing up, and they really studied music like I studied sports. So lucky for me, I ran into a great vocal coach here. Her name is Katrina. And she really helped me find my voice. She taught me how to open up to my true sound, to become less timid, and all of the techniques that go along with that. Ultimately, I prepared for 2 separate auditions in music theater and commercial music. And I was very nervous, but I knew that if I worked hard enough, just like in sports, I could become prepared for those auditions. And so I prepared with 6 songs, musical theater selections, as well as classical, and a comedic monologue, which was really fun to prepare for. So through her and so many people at FSU College of Music, and through the academics here, I was able to learn about, Mozart and Bach and Beethoven, and just classical musicians that I really didn't study or wasn't as aware of growing up. And it was just a whole new world to me of learning about rhythm, tonality, and the math behind music. Every music theory class I walked into, I was enthralled and fascinated, and jazz history and vocal performance, all of it was something I knew about, but hadn't really lived within. So that was just a whole new world to me alongside athletics at FSU, and I'm forever grateful for that. And honestly, I believe that music is just such a good vehicle for opening up ourselves to each other and just letting down barriers. So in that vein, I wanted to sing something for you, Imagine, which a lot of you know, so we'll do it. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill, die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Thank you all for listening, and I really appreciate being here, like I said earlier. All in all, I just want to convey that FSU has been an inspiration for me, and I'm really appreciative of all the people that have helped me along the way, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds as well, and I hope that everybody that's listening thinks about what their passion is and follows their dreams as well.
Thank you, Katrina. We do have some people pre-submitted questions. So I think this first one, it's kind of funny. So to many, your passions seem to be polar opposites, you know, music and athletics. So how do they align, and how do you find time for both, especially when you're preparing for the Olympics?
Yeah, it is kind of funny that they are in different worlds, and I think that has created balance for me, because I can train really hard in the pool, and then I can leave the pool and enter a different part of my life and rest and recover from training, and then also bring that intensity out within my music. So they overlap, but they're very different, and I like how they balance each other.
Follow up to that, what do you think is more calming for you? Is it music, or is it when you're in the rhythm of diving?
Oh man, both of them.
So what are you most excited about this summer? The Olympics are going to look different. So what are you excited about? Are you kind of upset that you're not going to be able to have the full experience because of the pandemic, or are you looking forward to it?
I think, like I said earlier, different setbacks, what we could call them, create other opportunities. So I'm kind of looking for the silver linings. And so I'm really excited just to see what unfolds. And I am really stoked that they're happening, and so I'm just training as hard as I can to be ready to perform.
Do you anticipate training again for another Olympics, or will you be then switching to your music career? And what will that music career look like?
At this point, I don't anticipate training for another Olympics. I would love to really pursue music full time, and I don't know what it will look like at this point. As long as I can play my guitar and sing, that's all I can really hope for, whether it's with my husband or in front of, a cafe crowd or in front of a stadium crowd, whatever that looks like, as long as I'm doing it, I'll be happy.
All in your passion, right? So what experiences as an undergraduate student stand out to you the most from your time here?
Oh my gosh, being on a college team was such a good time, and I created lifelong friends from that, and a lot of really incredible memories. And traveling within that team and competing at the ACC championships and stuff like that was really, really fun. And then as far as the musical component, I have one of my very best friends from the College of Music, Dana, who she's actually sang at my wedding, so her and I are best friends, and I've created really lifelong relationships. So just thinking back about times of being in class with her and sharing a laugh, or studying together, or watching, people who I know from classes perform at Ruby Diamond, Westcott, those moments are something I'll cherish forever.
If you had to tell undergraduate students, because in the fall, we're going to be going back to more in person. That's
Right.
the goal, to be in person. If you had to tell the students to take advantage of any opportunity on campus, what would it be? Not to miss out on it.
Oh my gosh. I think all of campus is just really enchanting. I mean, I love the big palm trees and the red brick buildings. I think one thing is just kind of taking it in every moment that you even walk into a class, whether it's something that you love or not, just enjoying your college experience to the fullest, because it does go by really quickly. And so I think you just have to really try to be in the moment and enjoy every experience at FSU.
I agree. So what advice would you give to students who are struggling to find their niche?
I think that the best thing that you can do is just try to listen to your heart and think about what arises for you naturally, really, what's something that you're interested in, whether it's, you might be like sitting out in the field and thinking about something that just kind of strikes you, but creating a space for yourself where you're kind of able to drown out the background noise and let something arise to you. And then try a lot of different things, there's all sorts of different music, and there's different sports, there's different academic pathways. So I think just try a lot of things, and if something just hits you in your gut, then listen to that.
I love that. And for my own personal, I don't know, I'm just now getting into all of the different athletics here, and we're winning in everything right now, really. But what was your career like here? Did you guys win the ACC? What was that experience like?
Oh my gosh. We definitely did a lot on the swim and dive team, and really we just continue to grow. It's like you said, along the shoulders of all of the other incredible athletic programs here. So I can't recall exactly, but we definitely made a dent, I will say.
The swim and dive teams did really good this year too. I have not been out to any of those smaller sports this year because of the pandemic, but I'm excited. I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I like to ask everybody, if you had to pick one specific memory that was your favorite of your time here, what would that one specific memory be?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one specific memory. I think learning about getting into the College of Music and really walking into my first class, that is something that I just have chills from, because I was so excited to start that journey. And then really a time when I overcame a fear at a diving practice and learned a new dive, and just felt really proud and like really connected with my teammates and the encouragement they gave me.
That's amazing. So you were saying that your family is all athletic. So who's the musical one in the family besides you and your sister? Your sister, right?
No, my sister was a diver.
Oh, the diver.
Yeah, and she's an artist actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but she's a painter, so she does something different in the arts than I do. But my whole family really enjoyed music. They didn't perform it or play it a lot, but they all sang really. My grandma sang, my mom always sang in the car. I sang my mom's ears off in the car. So it was just something we all enjoyed, and it was something I just loved from a young age. So my mom helped me get into lessons, and I was able to, like I said, pursue that too.
Great. I have one more question, and
Sure.
this might be a little tough, but I think that it's something that we're seeing a lot in our students today, where students are comparing themselves to their peers' success. So what advice would you give to students to kind of redirect their thinking so they're not comparing, that they can just find their own happiness in their own way?
Oh, that is a hard question.
Well, you've done such a good job of finding your passions.
Giving me the hard questions now, okay. I think that you, like I said earlier, really need to listen to your own heart, and everybody's path is different. So if you can just try to listen to yourself and think about your own goals, and just be present and see what arises. If something like feels really awesome, learning about something, then that's really a moment of achievement for you, and it just has to do with you and what you're learning.
Yeah. I just want to thank everybody for logging on for our series this week, and these have all been recorded because we will have them and share them. So if you want to go back and see Katrina's awesome speech today and her song, gosh, you can come play for me anytime. I'm so proud of that. We will have that available to you starting tomorrow, but just wanted to thank everybody again for attending virtually, and we'll see you soon.